Hi, it's Andrew Stadel, and in this video, I'm going to ask the question that I think oftentimes challenges us secondary teachers is how do your students make sense of integers? Because it's often represented in such an abstract way that I feel like students are missing opportunities to get better at it because they don't have enough concrete ways to do that. So in this video, I'm going to dive into a couple reasons why we want to make integers more visual and hands-on for students so that they can better grasp the idea of that concept. Okay, so number one, don't get me wrong. I love number lines. I use number lines, and I think number lines are really helpful. But often when I'm working with students and I have to do a quick review with integers, they might have an expression like 3 minus 8. So I oftentimes ask them, okay, you've got 3 positives and 8 negatives. What do you have more of? And how many more of them do you have? And sometimes that helps students, but oftentimes a visual is even more helpful. So I don't think number lines is that helpful sometimes. Like I could say over here on 8, there's 8 positives, and then over here there's 3 negatives. So what's the final value after that? And a student might be like 11 because they're thinking distance. I don't know if a number line is always helpful to illustrate that point. However, algebra tiles are really helpful if you have 8 positives and 3 negatives. And if you're familiar with the idea of making a 0 pair, then you would look for 3 negatives and 3 positives to make 0. And then you would have that leftover amount of positives, in this case, 5, right? So that's great. But in true estimation 180 fashion, I want to bring visuals to concepts like integers. And in true estimation 180 fashion, I want to bring students into the conversation so that they're estimating and building their number sense at the same time. So in the estimation 180 grade 6 toolkit with the integers module, that's what I'm trying to accomplish, to reimagine integers through a basic classroom supply that most teachers have, those little yellow and red foam counters where the red sides are negatives and the yellow sides are positives. And there's a series of tasks for students and teachers to use in grade 6 where they can visually engage in an estimation task, but also visually engage with the concept of integers and negatives and positives and making 0 pairs. So just to give you a quick brief overview of what's happening inside the toolkit here, students are asked the net value of a handful of counters. There's some cool patterns along the ways where students are looking at patterns in terms of squares and hexagons. In the estimate, investigate, and calculate series of tasks, students are given clues about a total net value, and they have to unravel those clues. So they're working on their number sense while also practicing their fluency with integers. And at the end, there's a fluency game with integers where students are taking counters themselves, dropping those counters, figuring out how many reds they have, how many yellows they have, in other words, how many positives, how many negatives they have, and they have to determine their total net value while they're competing against a classmate or a group of classmates. And it's a blast. If you need some additional resources to support your core curriculum, then I highly recommend you check out the Estimation 180 Toolkit and the Integers module. You can learn more at estimation180.com/toolkit, and you can get a free preview of all the activities included in this module inside the grade 6 Estimation 180 Toolkit.